Week 3, NFL, almost in the books, Drew. Wild action. The Giants. How did they pull that off, man? I picked the Buccaneers, I picked Oakland, and I regret it. I do.
Well, next time maybe you should listen
Lo
to me.
and behold, those two teams did win on Sunday.
Drew's always right.
Is that right? Well, you're getting one game back. But let's not forget, you're still going to be behind regardless of how we finish, unless somebody decides to change some Sunday picks. Guys, welcome into Sports Around the Bar. I'm sure it's your favorite sports show. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're ready to talk NFL with us because we have still a lot of action to go over in the NFL. Why don't we start with our first game, unless you've got something else you want to start with? Do you want to talk Antonio Brown again?
No, God, no.
No, enough is enough. We're going to talk about the NFL. Let's start with Cincinnati and Buffalo.
Let's do it.
There was so little to talk about in this game. I don't even know where to start. I don't know if the Bills have no offense because they couldn't score on Cincinnati. I don't know if Cincinnati has no offense because the Bills shut them down. I don't know. I don't know. That's my biggest takeaway from this game. I have no idea what happened. I just know the Bills are now 3-0. And they're doing it in total Buffalo style, winning ugly all the way through.
Their defense is good.
They are, definitely. I mean, anytime you can hold the Bengals to 17, although last week the Bengals were held to 17. The Seahawks only hold them to 20 or 21. Is the Bengals offense broken despite all these yards going on the board?
I think it's more impressive about that first half where they literally held Andy Dalton in check and the run game as far as the Bills' defense goes. That's really where I would sit there and put all their chips on. This
definitely.
Defense
I mean, anytime you
you're obviously Ian's here, but too drunk to type. Good job, Casey, and go Detroit.
Undefeated still. The 12-4 record is still alive.
It's undefeated, Drew. Is a loss.
It is not. It is a tie. More valuable than a loss, less valuable than a win. Nobody has bested Detroit yet. They are up there with some of the best teams in the league
next week,
record-wise. I don't know. What if they shut down Kansas City? Will you buy the 12-4 record at that point? They don't even need to beat them. What if they shut them down? What if it's a 10-7 game?
No.
Are they making 12-4 at that point?
No.
Or I guess 12-3-1? Is that a no?
No. Justin says, go Pack, go. Jake and Drew, 1 and 2. He says 3-0, baby. Houston, we have a defense.
That's tough. Yeah, I was going to say, very good win for the Packers. We're going to talk about them coming up as well. Good win for them, but the Broncos kind of followed by plan of attack, and we saw some success. I wonder if they're going to do it again. Other teams are going to do it again against the Packers going forward. Just to round out this Bills and Bengals game, because strange game, Buffalo is now tied still for the lead in the AFC East. Is this a legitimate playoff contender? Have you seen enough from Josh Allen with him throwing 243 yards, a touchdown and a pick against a defense that, let's face it, probably isn't up to par? Is this team legit, or is this just early season and they played the Giants and they played the Bengals, and I'm forgetting the other one, was it the Jets? They've played some pretty marginal teams, to be fair.
Yeah.
Are they a good team, Drew, or are we seeing a Buffalo team that's ready to go into the playoffs for the first time since, well, I guess a couple years ago they went.
Yeah.
For the second time in probably 30 years.
What's going on, Nathan? No, I think this is a good team. Do I think even if they made the playoffs, will they make a difference? No. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs right now just because they're 3-0 record? No. They're going to have to play New England twice.
Okay.
They're going to have to play other teams that are not
Still got the Dolphins twice. Still get the Jets again. A couple of these wins. They get the Titans. I know that. Mark that as a W. At least the way we're playing now.
It's a possibility. I don't think so. I don't think they're a playoff contender, but hey, we'll take it, man. Anytime that the East throws anyone into the playoffs besides the Patriots, I'm excited for that team.
Now, Andrew's been all over the Buffalo saying they're going to be the 6th seed. I still don't believe it quite yet. Remember, Giants not good. Jets pretty not good. Cincinnati, we were picking them to win a couple games. We haven't believed really in any of these teams they played yet. I want to see them play the Dallas Cowboys, or a team that they would match up pretty well with, and I want to see them do it again. I don't know that I'm on the Buffalo train yet, but it's a great start. Josh Allen's looking like he's throwing a little bit better, kind of like we're talking about Lamar Jackson throwing a little bit better. Maybe this is the year for the Buffalo Bills, either get a wild card or, God forbid, knock off the Patriots.
Oh, man. Sharif's already out there. Horrible calls in the Chiefs game. But he is saying the Bills are for real.
Interesting. I don't know. How bad were the calls in the Chiefs game, Drew? I'm going to leave this to you, man.
I've been on both sides of the spectrum when there's been calls that I disagree with. Were there questionable calls? Yeah. The worst part about it for Ravens fans, and Sharif, you know this, is the problem is those were crucial moments in the game that definitely turned some stuff over. Do I think the outcome would have been different? I don't know.
Now,
I honestly don't.
Eric says, what's up, fellas? How about them Cowboys? Let's talk about the Cowboys going up against the Dolphins. Is this a win? When you win 31-6, you should be talking about how great your team is. But when you're talking about the Dolphins giving up 40 and 50 points sequentially, week to week, and you can only score 31 against them, and some of those points come in late, is this the Dolphins coming down from that, first couple weeks of just everything's terrible, we got to start playing better? Or is this the Cowboys maybe taking a little bit easy on a team and overlooking the Dolphins that they shouldn't have?
I think that's the case. I mean, they all kind of said it going into the week because they're trying not to overlook the Miami Dolphins team, but it seems like they kind of did that first half. I don't know if you said hi to Frank, but hi, Frank. How's it going, man? Andrew says, more than what other division sends two? The AFC North?
Well, the AFC West is probably going to have the Chargers in there, right?
More than likely, I would
Probably
think.
Chiefs, we would assume. The AFC South's got a couple teams that can compete. Right now, Indianapolis is 2-1. To my shock, I mean, we think the Houston Texans are pretty good, having lost to the Saints and the Chargers. There are guys there. Maybe the Titans bounce back. Maybe Jacksonville and Gardner Minshew's the real deal. I think there's still some teams out there. Ravens, most likely going to win the North, but you never know. Cleveland could figure it out. Maybe the Steelers figure it out. It's still early. The Steelers started slow last year. Not this slow, but the Steelers started slow last year, even with a backup quarterback. Maybe they have enough talent to challenge in the wild card race. Buffalo has a better shot now than I think they've had in a long time. The AFC's been tougher than this for a while. I think Buffalo can make it. It's going to be interesting, though. I think Buffalo still has some challenges out there.
We had a discussion today about look at the trend that's going on with the NFL today and how slow these offensive teams have kind of started.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of points for these teams that we thought were going to be really good teams. I mean, just one can I think of looking at is the Falcons. The Falcons have not put up a lot of points.
Eagles, Rams. I mean, Saints even with
Saints,
Drew Brees, they've all kind of started
they
slow.
put up 33 this game, but they really have been starting really slow.
Yeah.
So my question is, when the offense starts clicking in this league, do the Bills' offense or defense, are they enough to keep up with some of these teams?
And I'm sorry, Sharif, I did misspeak on the Texans. They're 2-1, not 1-2. They did beat the Chargers.
Well,
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm not knocking the Bills. I don't know if I believe it just yet. I honestly don't, because when they do get their backs against the wall and they do have to put up points, who's the one scoring the points? Josh Allen cannot do it alone. He cannot do it on his legs. He's got to throw this ball to somebody. And so far, his receiving core has looked pretty weak.
More consistency out of John Brown. I know he had the big catch early on that got him their first win, and we need Cole Beasley to live up to that contract as well. Until I see it, I'm kind of with you. I don't think that this team is going to be able to run with some of the best of them. And yeah, you can get to the playoffs on the back of your defense. Looks like the Bills are going to have to do that.
Jeremy, what's going on, man? He said an exciting day in the NFL. I think it's every day. It's exciting when there's NFL going on. Justice said Green Bay has increased points every week, just taking time learning the new playbook and system, definitely used to high-powered scoring. That's exactly what I'm getting at, and Green Bay's another great option, but when other teams start scoring points on the Buffalo Bills, does that offense have enough power to keep up? That's my only question. So
I do like the running the ball a little bit more. I like they're getting
Absolutely.
both backs involved,
and
even though I'd like to see more Aaron Jones than Jamal Williams. But
and I love the fact that the Bills are 3-0. I'm telling you right now, I'm excited. Anytime the East can put any competitor against the Patriots, I'm all about it. But I just got to see more from them. There's a lot of teams that start 3-0 and don't make the playoffs.
And Will says, forget the Bucks. We need a real kicker. I'm sorry, Will, this one's on me. It's because I picked them to win. And Drew, I told you before they kicked it, didn't I? I said they're going to miss this kick, even though they got down to the 9-yard line at one point. I was like, they're going to miss. There's no way the Bucks pull this off. And I was right there. I was wrong picking them, but I was right there.
What happened was the word went down that Sports Around the Bar and Drew picked the Giants to win, and
the kicker shit his britches.
Yeah, he's like, I can't
do it. That's too much pressure. I can't let the boys down.
Exactly.
And then he did. Honestly, we'll talk about the Bucks a little bit later as well. That team, it's more of the same for Tampa Bay, right? Let's finish the Cowboys talk, though. Let's go back and talk about the Dolphins. First off, as the Dolphins, I think this is kind of a win, holding a team that has playoff aspirations, Super Bowl aspirations, to 31 points. It's getting better. It's improvement. It's a sign of life. Is it great? No. Are you going 0-16? Maybe not. I mean, you kind of hung with the Cowboys for the first half.
Right.
Give me two halves like that. You can beat some of these bad teams. You can beat the Jets. Maybe you can steal one against the Bills.
Jeremy is saying, wow, I'm assuming it's because,
I think he's talking about the Tampa field goal, but I might be talking about something else. Yeah, rough day for Tampa Bay fans, especially when you talk about them almost being 2-1.
And then Will saying you jinxed his team. I don't know about that.
I did. That's the curse, man.
My question
Just
for
like I jinx the Titans every time I pick them, they drop them to Jacksonville.
There's another word that you missed there, but my only question to you about this game is there concern for the Cowboys? I mean, this is another one of those games. I mean, they consider themselves up there with New England. You know, like they have Super Bowl hopes. They had everyone there. Everyone was healthy.
I would have liked to see more, but they've looked pretty good the first 2 weeks. I'm willing to call this overlooking a game. If it looks similar next week where they come out slow and they're struggling, I'm going to say, yeah, maybe something's going on here. Dak didn't look great, but he still wound up putting up like 240 yards. Elliott and Pollard were just killing him on the ground. This is still a win, even if the score didn't reflect just absolute domination like it has for the Ravens and the Patriots the week before. But this is still a really, really good win. It's 31-6. You're blowing someone out by 25 points and covering the spread. How critical can we be here? It's still an NFL team, right?
It's not.
And you beat them by 25 points. I know,
it's not
but
40 or 50 points that other teams have done.
25 still counts the same as 40.
That were
2 counts the same as 40.
Those two teams have playoff hopes, and so do the Cowboys. I'm just saying, is there cause of concern? That's all. So you're saying no?
Not yet. Not yet.
All right, let's go.
Maybe next week.
Let's go to the next game. We have the Denver Broncos going on the road to Green Bay.
Ian says, as a Steelers fan, at least he's not a Miami fan. We feel you, man. It's tough. It's tough out there in Florida. Let's talk about Green Bay, though. Great win for the Packers. I think this is a kind of defense that was set up kind of to frustrate them. Instead, they stuck to the game plan and ran the ball. This is what the Bears should have done a little bit more. This is what Oakland did and dominated them with Josh Jacobs. It's pretty clear to me that even though Green Bay didn't have a ton of success, they had multiple rushing touchdowns. They were able to pound the rock and beat a defense that is still the best part of this Broncos team.
Right. Justin says, Drew, were you discouraged with Kansas City's defense the last 18 minutes? Justin, not really. To be honest with you, when you have an offense like Kansas City, our defense just needs to be just somewhere average. And so far, what I've seen from them, they're improved from last year. You can just see by the way that our team is somewhat tackling everybody. There's multiple jerseys around that guy. I like the motor that's constantly running for this team. You see your defensive linemen, even if like a run breaks past, the first and second step of defense and it gets to our secondary, you're seeing defensive linemen over there also tackling when it's 10, 20 yards deep into the field. That's kind of, a positive thing, even though they're breaking those big plays. It's to see the motor on these guys playing well. So far, I would say our defense has turned around. I'm not saying they're elite, but they look a lot better than last year.
To flip the script here, Drew, let's talk about the Broncos and their offense because they obviously subscribed to what I was saying and tried to run the ball down the throat of the Green Bay Packers. 38 rushes for 149 yards, 2 touchdowns from Phillip Lindsay. This is an offense that can still run against a defense struggling against it with Mike Daniels gone. Do you think going forward teams, when they play Green Bay, are going to take a similar approach? Like, hey, through the tackles, up the gut, let's just wear this defense out?
I think it's a great way to beat Green Bay because you're keeping Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. Do I think other teams are going to adapt to that? No. Denver didn't win. And I'm not saying that that was a bad play call for them. It's just that's kind of the cause of it. You didn't do enough to keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. So maybe like a team like the Seahawks, maybe because they can run a little bit better, or the Ravens. I'm not even saying they play each other. My point is they get a chance to play the Packers, maybe a better running team. Even though we like to consider Denver a great running team, they didn't do enough to keep the Packers down. My more concern with Denver is how long do you allow Flacco to dink and dunk passes and not create a high-flying offense that they brought this guy with a strong arm in to make a difference?
My concern is, again, it's Cortland Sutton leading the way in their receiving, and not that he's a bad receiver, but when you have Emmanuel Sanders having 2 receptions for 10 yards, was Green Bay really focusing on him that much that they took Emmanuel Sanders out of the game for every play but 2? This, to me, is them not utilizing their talent to the right effect. This should be Emmanuel Sanders' show, early and often on him, and then Sutton does the cleanup work afterward.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the opposite. They're focusing on Sutton because teams are making it easier. It's not working. It's clearly not working. I don't care if it's Joe Flacco's favorite target. I don't care about comfort. If I'm Vic Fangio right now, I'm saying, Joe, you got to throw to Emmanuel Sanders, who is our only legitimate option at wide receiver, our only legitimate threat in terms of this guy can break a game wide open for us. You got to get this guy involved. I've been saying it since week 1. They have not involved Emmanuel Sanders, and they're losing games. Then again, for Green Bay, I'm kind of with Justin here, saying Green Bay's interior has been a weak point 2 weeks in a row. This is why they should have hung on to Mike Daniels and not let him go to Detroit, and I think it's a good reason why Detroit is 2-0-1 right now, because they've buffed up that defensive line so much. They need an interior defender. I don't think they have the linebackers that are tough enough up the middle to stop the run all game long. That's how I'm attacking Green Bay if I'm planning against them. If I have any kind of running game, any kind of faith in my offensive line, we're going right up the middle until they can prove they can stop it.
Okay, so we all know that their defensive line's not looked that great, but to be honest...
Edge rush, they've looked great,
but
right?
to be honest, the rest of their defenses seem to be really...
Just don't try to outshoot Green Bay.
Upwards.
Yeah, just don't try to outshoot Green Bay, and you'll be okay.
Offensively, what did you see for the Green Bay Packers during this game?
They ran the ball more, and I think that's good. Again, Rodgers threw 29 times, which I think is fine. I think LaFleur is focused on giving the running backs the ball and trying to keep some of the hits off him. Again, Rodgers is getting older. He's had injury problems. I don't have a problem with Rodgers taking a bit of a step back in the offense if it means keeping him healthy for 16 weeks.
Yeah, I think it was the right play calling as well, and I think that they're definitely getting used to seeing each other. I do want to go back to a comment. Will wants to sit here and talk about the Bucs. Hey, man, they're clear down there. You got to wait a minute. No, we'll talk about him. He says he's going to sit here and tell us that the Bucs are a real team. To be honest with you, man, I don't disagree with you. But you know what real teams do? They win.
They beat the Giants, whose defense can't stop anybody. They make a field goal to go 2-1 and take the lead in the division.
Yeah, I think you have everything excited about on that defense to be, and it blows my mind. This defense looked good for a while. They held the Giants down for a long time, but then they just kind of broke.
But you got to play 4 quarters, Drew.
Right, I know.
Yeah. No, I know.
But it's
I know.
all about the future.
But I just said that about the Dolphins too.
The Bucs aren't going to win a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, Will, not to hurt your feelings, but they're not. They're not winning a Super Bowl this year.
Sure.
It's all about building and what looks good for the future. And they, in my opinion, for the defense, as he put Shaq Barrett, you have something to be excited about.
You do. I'm not saying you're totally bereft of talent. I mean, Vita Vea should be okay when he comes back. I think they also have a good linebacker in Devin White, but there's still a lot to build on this defense. You know what look really good right now in a Tampa Bay uniform? Despite how good White's been, I'd like to see Josh Allen there, because if you've seen the way he's been tearing it up for Jacksonville, he was a terror on Thursday Night Football, man. He looks like everything everyone thought this kid was going to look like. There's a reason we're talking about 3 great players. I would have liked to see him in Tampa Bay, where you have that legitimate pass rusher to build a defense around. They went another direction. Obviously, you can't cry over spilled milk, but Tampa has a lot to answer for, and if you want to be a good team, these are the kind of games you need to win. It doesn't get much easier than beating a team like the Giants, who have almost no defense, when offense is supposed to be your specialty, right? You've got the receivers, you've got the tight ends, you can throw with Jameis Winston. You got to beat a team like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you let a rookie quarterback go into Tampa Bay and beat you in his first start.
Fourth quarter comeback, too.
They're not a legitimate team. That's something a bad team does. I'm not trying to be mean, Will. I like Tampa Bay, too. They're my second favorite team. They're my NFC team, if you want to be like that. I just know how to pick them, Drew. But
yeah, you have
it's got to be better than that. You can't let a rookie come in and dominate you the way Daniel Jones dominated this defense, regardless of who's in the field.
Justin says, Jake, you hit a soft spot. Don't mention Daniels. What are you doing, man?
It was all money, Justin. I think Green Bay looked at that profit ledger from the year before and said, hey, we made $70,000 as a billion-dollar corporation. Not okay. We need to free up some cap space. Mike Daniels was due to make about $10 million and was a guy who'd been through some injuries. They said, we can let go of the 30-year-old and try to rebuild the defense. If they had him, we would be talking about Green Bay being one of the surprises of the season, I think. Not that they're not already, but we'd be talking about how stout this defense looks.
Eric says, what does Barkley's injury mean to the Giants?
It depends how bad it is. Supposedly it's a sprained ankle, maybe a couple weeks. This means you're going to throw it a lot more. And guess who's coming back after next week? Daniel Jones' best receiver, Golden Tate. I know we were talking about, is it Sterling Shepard? Is it Golden Tate? Is it Evan Ingram? It's Golden Tate. The experience he's going to bring to a rookie quarterback, that's what you want.
I think your positive is the fact that, is the fact that he was on the sideline in a boot. If it was broken or anything severe, he would not have been out there because he couldn't be putting pressure on it.
Yeah, they're talking sprain right now.
So that's a positive.
3 to 6 weeks. Just depends on the guy. Depends on the sprain.
I hope not. My fantasy league will not, or fantasy team will not like that at all.
All right, we'll move on, Drew. Let's talk about the Falcons and the Colts, the team that I seem to keep giving up on. The Indianapolis Colts who seem to keep upsetting me. Is Atlanta bad? Are they a good team? They keep losing close games, but they lost to a Colts team they probably should have beat. And like I said, if Indianapolis runs it up the middle, there's a lot of potential there. We saw this defense get frustrated. Then again, penalties have been a big issue in the NFL this week. The Falcons had 16 penalties called against them. The Colts had 4, the second week in a row, in my opinion, where the Colts have been on the better end of penalties. I think that's kind of swinging things in their direction here a little bit. And I'm not saying they didn't do well. Jacoby Brissett looked like the real deal today against this Falcons defense. Part of it might be the Falcons defense playing poorly, but the Colts got away with a little bit. I think there was a lot of holds and a lot of stuff against the Falcons that were marginal calls that probably couldn't have been. The refs could have let go. Last year probably gets let go. They're 2-1 though. The Colts are 2-1.
Ian says he still doesn't know if either one of these teams are good or bad. Atlanta didn't seem to want it, and Indy looked like the division leader, at least in the South. When I look at this game, it's purely for the Falcons.
Will says the Colts are just good. Maybe.
For me, when I look at this game and I think about what the Falcons have, I think it's based on another game that happened today, and that's the Eagles game. And the Eagles looked not very well against the Lions. And so we got to remember the Falcons are now 1-2, and they beat the Eagles. And
in a fourth quarter drive, 2 minutes left.
And we thought, wow, this is the Falcons turning themselves around. I know I believed it. I picked them to win this game, and they didn't. So at this point in time, I'm at the kind of chalk it up there with the Bucs talk, is good teams win these games, and the Falcons are not winning these games. And this was my dark horse to find themselves to a Super Bowl on the NFC side, and I am almost ready to yank that right out of there and say that's not my call anymore.
And as much as I don't believe him, they were an overtime victory away from being 3-0 against the Chargers. This is a team that, who knows, maybe the offensive line and the running game is going to be enough to build on. You saw Jacoby Brissett pretty much match the quarterbacks he's gone up against so far. I mean, 300 yards today, 310 versus Matt Ryan's 304. They both threw, Brissett threw 2 touchdowns, Matt Ryan threw 3, but Ryan had a pick in there. Brissett has matched people pretty much pound for pound. Mariota struggled against him. Brissett struggled. The Colts did enough to get the win. He matched Matt Ryan. The Colts did enough to get a win. That seems to be the running thing here is this team is willing to do enough with whether it's the running game, whether it's the defense, to get wins, and that has value in the NFL.
Ian, you must be drunk. He said it's the first time he'd noticed the logo in the corner changing colors.
Well, it's only been like that forever. So as long as the logo's been there, it's changed colors.
Oh, Will says that hurts the most, being so close and having a gay kicker miss. Matt Gay kicker missed 2 extra points. Actually, one was blocked and makes a 52-yarder but misses a 34-yarder. Hey, man, sometimes the pressure's just too much.
Oh, it is, especially when you're Tampa Bay and you can't seem to buy a kicker. I mean, they spent a second-round pick on, what's it, not Santos, what was the Roberto Aguayo.
Yeah.
That was Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah.
The guy sometimes you just can't, when you spend a second-round pick, you should have a kicker.
The guy that never missed a kick until the NFL.
Yeah, and then he misses all of them. Exactly.
The last thing I want to talk about this game is the fact that Brissett's receiving core, including tight ends, all showed up at this game. This is something the Colts should be excited about as the fans go, as you're seeing everything kind of turn around.
I definitely agree. Let's move on to the Chiefs and the Ravens. Let's talk about our next game so we can get out of here for Sunday Night Football. Drew, well, it's your team. I'm going to let you take the lead here. How good were the Ravens? Even though they lost this game, how good are the Ravens? Are they as good as the hype has been?
I think the Ravens are a good team. I think that they have a lot of potential for this year and finding themselves probably in the playoffs. One thing I have to say about Lamar Jackson, he overthrew a lot of passes, and I think that's honestly what killed him because his receivers actually had Kansas City secondary beaten a lot of those throws. He just seemed to misunderstand their speed or overthrow them, didn't get the power part. But beyond that, what I saw with him planting his legs and the strength and his willingness to throw the ball, I think Lamar Jackson has a high future. As far as the Chiefs go, they looked really good. I like to see the resurgence of the run game look a lot better. Darren Williams had a great game. So did McCoy. I can't wait until some of these guys get healthy and come back. We have a full team because we've been banged up for a little while offensively. But it was a great game for Kansas City. It was a nail-biter. I was sweating it a little bit.
Can I go pessimist here for a minute? We've seen the Cardinals play absolutely atrocious defense against Lamar Jackson. He threw 270 yards there. We've seen Lamar Jackson play against the Miami Dolphins and throw for over 300 in that game. And now we've seen him play against the Chiefs and throw for over 200 yards. My complaint still stands. I want to see him play a good defense. And I will give you this, Drew. We talked about this before. The Chiefs are a better defense this year than what they were last year. But, I mean, we talked about it last year. Their only way to go is up.
Right.
So when I see Lamar Jackson throwing for 260 yards here, I'm almost asking myself, why wasn't it 350?
Yeah.
Why wasn't it 400? Especially when you're going up against a high-flying offense like this. You could tell me he doesn't have the receivers, but I think Marquise Brown is the real deal. I think Willie Snead is okay as well. Andrews looks good as a tight end. He's got some guys, I'm just not on Lamar Jackson hype train yet. I'm not yet. He can do a lot of stuff with his legs. He can create. You can win games like that. But if you have to go beat the elite, can you do it with a guy like Lamar Jackson? I think these are gonna be the kind of games you run into where close but not close enough. It seems to be the order of things until we see Lamar Jackson throw for 250 to 300 yards consistently, game in and game out, regardless of competition.
You know what train you are on? The Patrick Mahomes train, because everybody's on that train.
You got to be at this point, right?
Ian says, great game. Kansas City is for real. They look sharp. Might take them to go to the AFC Championship game. I don't know how you could think anything different. Let's go into the next game, though. Let's go into Oakland, going on the road to the Minnesota Vikings.
How do I bet on Oakland all the time? You talk me into it. I know Steven, I hope he watches this on rerun because I haven't seen him yet. How do you talk me into betting into the Raiders, who came out and had a Raider-like performance, getting dominated by the Vikings?
Guess what? I didn't.
As soon as I saw Adam Thielen catch that long touchdown pass, I said, here we go. Here it is. The Raiders are back, and not in the right way. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe the Vikings are a good team. Maybe the defense is better than people want to give them credit for because they've been pretty good these past couple weeks. They slowed Green Bay down. They played really well in this game, too. I look at this one, Drew, 34-14. Raiders are back on their bullshit. They're back, man. That's all I can say. I don't know. I'm more disappointed you didn't bring me another beer when you went up to go get one for yourself. So now I'm going to have to get up and get one.
Dude, you finished that?
Almost. I'm getting there.
All right, well, here. God,
all right,
man.
In this game, though, see, I got him to get up and give me a beer. In this game, though, Derek Carr, 27 of 34. It's what you want to see out of your franchise quarterback. 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derek Carr, at the very least, looks like he's doing a lot of things right. They still need more weapons. If Antonio Brown's on this team, do they win the game? No, but maybe Derek Carr looks like a guy that you want to pay $25 to $30 million to. I think after this and after the way he started, we can't talk about Derek Carr, or we shouldn't talk about Derek Carr as a guy who's on the bubble to keep his job as a quarterback, right?
Yeah. I know Will. I think Justin also said it, talking about Dalvin Cook just going off. It's exactly what I thought Dalvin Cook was after year one with him, going into like week 4 before he got hurt, and last year where I said he's going to lead the league in rushing, and he didn't. I did say it this year. I still kind of believe that he can still be the leader in the NFL in rushing yards. That being said,
to be fair, the Vikings last year got to week 16 and they're like, wait, we have Dalvin Cook. Why haven't we been running the ball?
But the thing that I had to say about this game, and is exactly what I said on Friday night, was the Minnesota Vikings at this point in time are just more talented than the Raiders are.
Absolutely.
And that's what it is. And maybe, quarterback, you can give Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins. But it doesn't matter. His receiving core is far and beyond of what the Raiders have. That's why you see the Vikings winning this game and honestly dominating the Raiders.
Absolutely. We won't dwell on it. Even though the Raiders disappointed me in their run defense, I think we know now it might have been a fluke compared to what we've seen them playing the Broncos, who seem a little weak, them playing the Chiefs, who aren't always necessarily the most team invested in the running game. I think the Raiders are still an interesting team to watch. Can they bounce back? I know they're 1-2, and we're not really expecting playoffs, but I want to see 6 wins out of this Raiders team. I want to see maybe 7, and we can talk about them being on the road to recovery. Because the worst case scenario, you spend all those draft picks, you had that big week 1 win, and then you go and win 3 games, you have another high pick, and John Gruden looks like an idiot for trading Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper and not finding a way to make it work with those guys.
Yep. New York Giants on the road to New England Patriots. Was this game going to go any different?
New York Jets. Do we say Giants or Jets? New York Jets?
Well,
no. We all kind
whatever.
of know the Patriots are good. We all kind of know the Jets with Luke Falk, former 6th-round pick, mistake quarterback by the Titans have Mariota, and they said this guy's not good enough. You should not want him starting for your team. But with Sam Darnold with mono and Trevor Siemian, a Myles Garrett late hit victim here with a broken ankle, you don't really have a lot of choice. This is a third quarterback going up against maybe the best quarterback to ever play the game, Drew. It was never going to end any other way.
We were kind of running behind on time, Will. These games are the late night games. They'll come at the end of it. Usually we kind of show them popping out a little bit more, but we just ran out of time.
Somebody set the bar up wrong. Go ahead. Drive the dagger in, Drew.
Someone's just not very good at doing decor.
We need Queer Eye for the straight guy in here. We got to fix some things up.
That's fine here.
All right. We'll move forward. What do you want to talk about with this Jets game? Do you want to talk about Le'Veon Bell getting 35 yards on the ground? Do you want to talk about the Patriots maybe having a good run defense? Do you want to talk about Le'Veon Bell maybe making a mistake leaving the Steelers.
To be honest, the only thing that there is really worth talking about in this game is Julian Edelman went out with a chest injury, and we don't know what that means for the Patriots, because after losing Antonio Brown, one part they are going to be weak on losing Julian Edelman is their receiving corps.
Except Josh Gordon coming back and having those 6 receptions for 83. Tom Brady's number one outside target is back, man. Again, this guy's not been in the offense long, only a couple weeks now. He only came back in like week 3 or 4.
Caught another touchdown too.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is due because Edelman's out there,
sure.
and it takes the defense to pay attention to him.
Sure. I mean, maybe if he loses another weapon, we're talking about the Patriots being in trouble. But for now, they've got those running backs. They've got these receivers. They're going to be fine, I think, even with Edelman going out with the chest injury. I know they're hoping it's not serious because they need a guy like Edelman to show up in the playoffs who's been there, done that kind of stuff before. They got a lot of time to go between now and then.
They really do. But he did not come back, so it is a concern for New England Patriot fans. Our next game, the Detroit Lions go on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are not who we thought they were.
Defensively, they're weak. And from a Jim Schwartz offense or defense that has a defensive line, that's kind of a shock. Usually Jim Schwartz, all he needs is give me that front 4, and we'll play cover 2
Malik
behind
Jackson is hurt. So maybe, that was
They still got like 30 other great defensive linemen.
Bennett's gone. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I mean, is it due to injury?
Well, I think they're not as good as they were. In that 100% plays into it. They're not as good defensively as they were up front, and when you don't have that dominant of a defensive line, you can't get away with having some bad secondary players behind you and expect that nobody's going to take advantage of that. I think that's what happened here. I think they were sloppy special teams-wise when they let Detroit run back that 101-yard return. I think Detroit is a better defense than we give them credit for. Up front, they're almost built kind of like the Eagles are, where they have a great defensive line. They have one corner, whereas Ronald Darby versus Darius Slay, even though I like Darius Slay a lot more. And then everything else is pretty much similar, where they've got a lot of the question marks.
Ian says he thinks the Lions just actually played 4 quarters.
We haven't seen the Eagles do that. They didn't play 4 quarters against the Redskins.
I agree.
They didn't play 4 quarters against the Falcons.
I think for me to sit there and crown the Lions a great team, I think I need to see another game out of them. Because regardless...
the Kansas City game specifically.
It really honestly is. Because... And that's just a coincidence that's next week's game. But it's just my point is what is this Eagles team? What is it? Because they tied against the Cardinals. I don't care what you say. That's a loss.
Underperforming. Or you meant Lions. The Lions team tied against the Cardinals.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you said Eagles, but I got you. Go ahead.
I said what is this Eagles team? And then you got to remember and I said okay.
All right.
Yes, but I was meaning the Lions tied.
You play
with the
3D
Cardinals.
chess, Drew. You're confusing the hell out of me.
Well, pay attention to where that piece is going.
Exactly.
My point across here is we don't know how good the Eagles are. The Lions have been off and on, regardless of what the record says. It hasn't been a dominant performance across the board. Wins are a win. It's great. But we're kind of talking about the Buffalo Bills here. Are the Buffalo Bills winning their division because they're 3-0?
They ain't lost yet.
That's
more than likely no.
But the Lions are impressing me. They're a lot better than I thought they were.
They have an easier schedule than the Patriots do. They play the Jets one more time. They play the Dolphins twice, whereas the Patriots have played them already. They can match up with the Patriots. I don't know. Another injury or two to this wide receiving core, and they got to go play Buffalo in Buffalo.
I hope.
I know that's the case.
I hope
you
that's
just
the
don't
case.
believe it. Me either. I'm playing devil's advocate. That's okay. Look, I look at this team. I look at the Lions, and I say they've done well. Matt Patricia has been a coach that we haven't talked about a lot because the first season was tough, but it's tough going into the NFL with other people's players and trying to make something happen. Yeah. I think we have seen Matt Patricia do a good job of starting to reinvent the defense. They're still a year or two out, but almost the Lions have gone from we're a pass happy, we have Matt Stafford, we're going to stack this team out and let the chips fall where they are, to we're going to run the rock with Kerryon Johnson, even though they didn't do a good job with him today, and we're going to play defense. And we're starting to see that out of the Lions here. Matt Stafford only threw 32 times. Matt Stafford in the past was like 50, 60, 70 passes a game. Because you have to, because that was all you had.
It was a full team win. Not one side of the team won the game. I mean, the defense still gave up 24 points.
Will's all in on the Lions, too. Let me go to the comment alert here. Will is saying the Lions are going to win the North. Just saying, are we giving up on Chicago too quick? They played 2 games, and we're calling them dead in the water to Detroit. All I'm saying is Chicago's pretty good. The Green Bay's looking pretty good. The Vikings, big win today against the Oakland Raiders. The North might be the best division in football.
It might be.
The NFC North might be the best division in football right now.
Ian says, who would have thought the Lions would actually use their tight ends?
Well,
they're
hold
using
on.
the wrong one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to drive the dagger
Our
into this
fantasy
one.
team needs
No.
Hawkinson to be this.
Meanwhile, Drew's like, I don't pick anybody. I didn't pick anyone. Hawkinson,
You picked
multiple
Njoku. How
weeks.
well is he doing?
Oh, he's hurt, but you know what? He gave us one good week. Same thing as Hawkinson.
Yeah,
So
this dude
I guess
just
we're
happened to
both
be
idiots.
the same week.
Yeah, our tight end game, not on point. I won't lie to you. Had David Njoku in way too many leagues for him to go out in week 3 with a significant injury.
I told you to pick Waller.
Did you, though?
No.
I didn't think so. You told me to take Hawkinson, and this is the problem with rookie tight ends.
As a
is
backup tight end?
They get lost in the shuffle.
I didn't want him to be the starter.
Well, here we are, right?
That's your fault.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. That was my fault. Going into this, Drew, again, tight end work for Matt Stafford has not happened in the past.
Right.
Big step forward for them. I want to see Hawkinson get more involved. You just spent,
Right.
pick, what was it, 10, 11 on TJ Hawkinson?
He showed spark. See.
Week 1. Now we've had 2 weeks of downtime. I want to see some more spark out of my first round tight end that I spent pick 10 on. That is a lot of value for a tight end. He better be good.
Week 1 he was. We got to go on to the
But we
next
played
game.
3 weeks.
We had the Carolina Panthers go on the road to the Arizona Cardinals. Man, was I wrong. I thought the Cardinals offense would show something, but you know who didn't show up? That offensive line. They gave up 8 sacks. Kyler Murray was in just over his head. He threw for 43 times, for completing 30 of them. You complete 30 passes.
That sounds sexy, right? Sounds like 65%.
It sounds amazing.
I'm in there.
173 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He did rush for a little bit for 69 yards, but this guy was just under duress, and he could never find anybody except Christian Kirk for a whopping 59 yards or whatever it was on 10 receptions.
This is a factor of the Carolina Panthers still playing great defense. Remember, this team, even though the Rams scored 30 points on them, Jared Goff threw for 90 yards against these guys. They had like 90 yards rushing with Todd Gurley. The Panthers' defense is legit, okay? I mean, they shut down Tampa Bay, whose MO is, hey, we throw the ball all over the place. I get it was in the middle of a hurricane or what might as well have been. This defense for Carolina is amazing. And they're what's going to keep this team somewhat relevant going forward. Hopefully Cam comes back. I know they're saying foot injury. I think it's like whole body injury on Cam Newton. Yeah. I think he's just a guy that you need to park. This defense will keep this team in there because they have Christian McCaffrey as well. And that's what happened in this game. This isn't Kyler Murray. We're talking about Kyler Murray struggled. This is a rookie quarterback going up against a defense that just had.
I didn't say he struggled.
That is so far ahead of where the Cardinals' offense is right now.
It's the Cardinals' offensive line that I said the struggle. But you know who did succeed? That was Kyle Allen. He went for 19 at 26 throws, 261 yards, 4 touchdowns. He found Olsen, made him look like he was young, and he even made Samuel Moore catch a TD. This young rookie might be... Nope, stop. This is the same thing we said about Lamar Jackson. Might be a heck of a starter.
This is the same thing we said about Lamar Jackson for a defense that has nobody alive in their secondary. They're missing their top 2 corners. They will be for a while still. Patrick Peterson's out till week 7. Robert Alford's out longer than that with a broken leg. This is a defense that has nothing going on in the secondary. They're making guys like Lamar Jackson and Kyle Allen. What's his name? I don't even know. Look like a good quarterback. I mean, this is more a factor of the Cardinals being a very weak defense. They've got some pass rushers. Beyond that, this defense has...
Chandler
and
Jones
Jordan
had
Hicks.
2 sacks.
Chandler Jones is good.
He had 2 sacks.
They have Terrell Suggs. And you know what else they have? Jordan Hicks. And that's it. They have 3 guys. And the rest of their defense, pretty terrible. Until Patrick Peterson comes back, that's all you got on the defensive side of the ball. It's making guys like Kyle Allen look like a quarterback. So don't tell me Kyle Allen is a good quarterback. Right. I don't care that he... I don't care,
I said
Drew.
possibly.
No.
So let's get into a rookie quarterback that you have stars in your eyes for, and that's against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers go on the road against the Giants.
Will's been waiting for this moment, by the way.
Daniel Jones went off. Your guy. You're just the guy that makes your stomach get butterflies. Daniel Jones, 4th quarter comeback, got a win, 23 out of 36, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 touchdowns. This is your guy, man.
It wasn't pretty running. If you watch the highlights, you weren't like, wow, what an athlete. But I told you, Drew, he would likely. This is the kind of game. Again, the Giants have subscribed to my style of thinking, where you build the offense around your quarterback, you give him the offensive line, you give him a couple weapons to throw to, you give him a good to great running back if you possibly can, the best running game you can, and then you throw him out there. I don't care that Saquon got hurt in this game. You play him against a bad defense where he's ready to start. Even though this one was on the road, I would have liked it to be in New York. Instead, it was on the road. Doesn't matter. Daniel Jones stepped up to the plate. I don't care that it took a late last-second field goal to beat the Buccaneers, or a missed field goal to beat them. This is exactly what you want to see, and this is the best result you got from a Giants fan. Because my quarterback, win or lost, looked very, very good and very comfortable doing so. I don't care that the defense is terrible. I don't care that Jameis Winston had a good day. I don't care that the Buccaneers should have beat him with a last-second field goal. What I care about is my rookie quarterback is getting some confidence, and after next week is getting a great receiver in Golden Tate back. That's what I care about.
Yeah, and next week when the Giants get Golden Tate back, they'll have legitimately 3 great receiving options. And Evan Ingram, I do want to get to this guy. 6 receptions, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Hold on. This guy is a legitimate receiving tight end in the NFL. Ingram is a stud. Watching that guy, that one-hand reception, this guy is huge. If Daniel Jones can get a lot of chemistry with him, watch out, Giants fans. You might have an offense.
And Will is just going to sit there and tell us that the Bucs finished second in the South. Well, Atlanta's not looking good. Carolina's defense looks okay, and Kyle Allen had a good day against a terrible defense this week. But beyond that, how big of a bet is that anymore? The NFC South is not the same division it used to be. You've got a backup quarterback for the Saints for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. Potentially. I'm not going to rule it out because the South is as weak as it is. Right now, if I'm the Buccaneers, I have my sights set on the division. I don't care if the Saints – I don't care what the Saints' record is. I don't care what the Panthers' record is. I'm thinking we finished poorly last year. We're going to have an easier schedule. Now is our chance to make something happen despite what our defense looks like.
Well, I know you don't like it, man, but Shaq might have laid him out 4 times. What Shaq didn't do is give them a W. And yes, Evans looked really good for the first time this year, in my opinion. 8 receptions, 190 yards, 3 touchdowns.
And you know who looked bad? Chris Godwin, who had been the featured guy before that. So
But
it's
we
like the
all
focus
knew-
just shifted.
We all knew that at some point in time Mike Evans would go off. We have to keep going. We know we're getting right up to the edge where the game's probably already started or getting to. Let's go into the next game. The Houston Texans go on the road against the LA Chargers.
The Texans bailed me out. And usually I hate this team, Drew, but honestly, if they would have lost this one, you would be tied with me in our season standings. Instead, I get this 2-game advantage on you still, but you're closing the gap. I'm feeling the breath in the back of my neck. You're coming in. That has way too many innuendos. Don't take it like that.
The only really highlight for the Houston Texans this win is Deshaun Watson. I think he had an outstanding game for what was asked upon him. The Chargers defense still has a great pass rush. Their secondary is a little bit questionary, even with some of the great guys they got back there with like Derwin James. But
Who's out?
But
Right.
I mean, just saying, 25 out of 34, 351 yards, 3 touchdowns. No one really shined for him.
Yeah.
Hopkins was kind of shut out in the sense of a Hopkins.
We didn't see 12
Performance.
receptions, 196 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, Rivers did exactly what Rivers always does. He throws for over 300 yards, and he finds his one guy, Keenan Allen, with 13 receptions, 183 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
When the secondary's this bad, you put as many of those guys on Keenan Allen as you want. He's got to catch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of what they did.
Even though this game came down to one last play, could possibly have tied it and gone into overtime, to me, this game wasn't extremely exciting. It just wasn't, and I don't understand.
I thought it was a good game.
I don't understand why it wasn't exciting to me because you got the Houston Texans playoff game. You got playoff team.
What have I called?
You got the LA Chargers,
And then
a
I'll
playoff team.
rain the
And,
explanation.
You know, it's
down
funny.
on you.
Before you ever were
Go ahead.
thinking that, I was already going to get to that point. I'm starting to believe what Jake has told us for all along. Both these teams are fool's gold. They do. There's nothing that sits there and goes, "Oh man, you got to watch out for these teams."
You even used my term. That's perfect.
Dude,
That's perfect.
I was going to do it before you even said it.
Yeah, when you look at the Texans, when you look at the Chargers, it's both teams that think they can win a Super Bowl and realistically are farther away than a lot of other teams are. I think the Chargers are a good team. They have a lot of great players, but they have a bunch of average players. They have a poorly run team that can never seem to have the killer instinct to get something done. Houston's kind of the same way. They get to the playoffs, and then they let a team that's marginal, even with Andrew Luck, dominate them in the playoffs like they did last season. I like Deshaun Watson. I like DeAndre Hopkins. This offensive line is terrible. They don't have a running back. They don't really have a defense. They've got a front seven. So you got half of a defense, I guess. But what plays in 2019's football? Passing the ball. You need to get a couple secondary players. That Justin Reed got hurt in this game as well. The Houston Texans are down to, like, absolutely nobody. Like, I might go on the road here to try to work out for them this week to try to get on the field here, Drew. The Texans are like the setup that you don't want to have, where you can't protect the quarterback you have. You can't run the ball to protect him at all either. You can't play defense in the sense of when teams get desperate, they're going to throw the ball all over you. The Texans are in a bad spot. Even though they won this game, the Texans are still in a bad spot when it comes to winning a Super Bowl. They are multiple players away from winning a Super Bowl. The Chargers are a mentality away, and you can't teach that.
Yeah.
You can't teach a guy to go out there and be a winner. That's almost something that a guy almost has to figure out on his own. Even though I love Phillip Rivers, and he's like a stat god, right? He's a guy who comes out and throws for 300 yards all the time, like you said. It'll be 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, but that interception will be the difference. Or the defense doesn't keep up, and Phillip Rivers doesn't have that last little oomph to beat a team like the Patriots, to beat a team like the Chiefs that are this good.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian, thank you so much for the comment, man. He'd rather watch us than watch Sunday Night Football. He said, but we have to skip the next game. Unfortunately, we can't, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers went on the road to the San Francisco 49ers. And, you know, we picked the 49ers across the board. But this Steelers team,
they gave us a scare.
They gave us a run for our money because Garoppolo looked atrocious. He threw for 2 picks, fumbled 2, I think recovered 1. The only positive I'd sit there and say about the 49ers is they found their goal line running back in Jeff Wilson Jr. That guy takes all the snaps. If it's 1 yard, 2 yards, or goal line, that guy's in there. He had 8 rushes.
The 49ers are
for like
3-0.
10 yards and has 2 touchdowns, which leads the 49ers to be 3-0.
The 49ers are 3-0, but they exhaust me. I'm so tired of a team that has a team of no-name players, okay? Offensively, if there was a guy who was going to lead the charge, he would have come out by now. Maybe it's Matt Breida. Maybe it's one of these receivers that, you know, they have 13 of them that can have a good day, and no one ever seems to dominate week to week. They are bereft of talent, and I think John Lynch is to blame for it. They're 3-0. I'm not going to go too hard on the 49ers. It's a great start, even though Jimmy G has been inconsistent and not very good to start. He had a great game week 2. Weeks 1 and 3, not so much. This team will not be a great team until they start to bring in some better players. They need a couple receivers that they can count on week to week. They need a running back they can count on week to week. They need a secondary they can count on week to week. I give the Steelers credit here. I know they lost. I know they're 0-3, and all the people who hate the Steelers are going to come out and bash them. But this is with the backup quarterback. They stayed in this game almost the entire way. I don't want to say Mason Rudolph is the real deal, but to hang with the team that should be better with an offensive mind like Kyle Shanahan, that's not bad in my book. Not with a quarterback that I'm trying to figure out what I got in Mason Rudolph that I was comfortable enough to trade away my first-round pick to get Minka Fitzpatrick, who generated 2 of those turnovers, by the way.
Yeah, he played. I was going to say that. He played really well.
And traded away Josh Dobbs, who was the other quote-unquote legitimate contender in this backfield. They're all in on Mason Rudolph. Even though it wasn't the best day, you hung with the team, and to me, the Steelers are the winners here, even though the 49ers are 3-0.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's go to the next game, where the New Orleans Saints went on the road to face the Seattle Seahawks.
Hang on, real quick. B says, guys, he needs help, down by 6. He has 1 player left. Does he go with Tyreek Cohen or Dave Montgomery tomorrow? I still got to say Cohen. I know Montgomery's got a little bit of work, but with Mike Davis in there, those 2 guys do too much similar stuff to bet on Matt Nagy using either one to give you 6 points. I got to go Tyreek Cohen. Hope the Bears get challenged by Case Keenum a little bit. I know, right? Hilarious when you talk about how good the Bears defense is, but it can happen. It's the NFL. Hope that Tyreek Cohen needs to come in and catch the ball. The Redskins are good up front as well. I don't trust a power back against the Redskins, especially the way the Bears' offensive line has been dominated the first few weeks. You're not in a good spot. Play Cohen and make the best of a bad situation here.
I was going to leave that until we talked about the Bears, but
grind it out real quick. He's got to get it quick. I mean, the game starts here.
Well,
I guess
Monday
tomorrow.
Night.
Yeah, the game starts tomorrow. We have to get it done in the next 24 hours. My bad. I don't know why I was thinking Sunday Night Football.
I was going to make him wait, okay? I was going to make him wait for the answer.
Not okay.
Oh, bees will wait patiently. Bees, we appreciate you, man.
Ian also says the Steelers' defense will be good if only the offense played 2 halves. This isn't playing 2 halves. This is needing more talent. You need some new receivers. Big Ben has got it done with a lot of guys in the past. This time, the talent has not lived it up to. I know it was Rudolph today. Don't correct me. I know. You don't have the receivers yet to be a good team. James Conner is not a good enough running back like Le'Veon Bell was to lead a team. The Steelers need more offensive talent.
Yeah. So
Defense is looking good.
I want to talk about the Saints and Seahawks game.
Sure.
I won't put it up to Bridgewater, and I have been an advocate for Bridgewater being a starter in this league. I'm not going to put it up to him for winning this game. I think this is completely on Kamara. That guy looked like exactly what everyone thought he would be. And I also put it on Pete Carroll and what their play calling is during a game. You got one of the best passers in the league. I know he threw for 50 times, completing 32 for over 400 yards.
We bailed my fantasy ass out this week.
And he did really well. He threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for another 2. Lockett, by the way, my guy, looked like a stud. 11 receptions, 154 yards, a touchdown. They should have been throwing this rock right at the half. They should be putting up points as quickly as possible.
Especially when you talk about how weak the Saints' defense is.
You got to
Secondary
do it right
is,
after that.
say.
He waited for so long before doing this. And it's, to me, you kind of deserve to lose this game, Seattle. You can, I get running the rock. I get that's your bread and butter. That's what makes you what you are. But
now you're talking like me.
At some point in time, you got to throw the rock sooner than what you're doing later in the game, and it's already too late.
Get away from the idea of we have an identity, this is what we do. Instead, put yourself in the idea of we want to do this, but we will take advantage of our opponent's weaknesses. You have Russell Wilson, who does not make mistakes. You're going up against corners like Eli Apple for the Saints, who's absolutely terrible. Yeah, they have Lattimore. Pick a receiver that Lattimore's not covering. You've got like 3 other guys who don't have names that are going to make something happen. Pick Will Dissly. Pick DK Metcalf. Pick Tyler Lockett. If they make the mistake of putting Lattimore on the fast receiver in DK Metcalf, you have guys who can make an impact on this offense. Throw the ball more. Beat the Saints. That's how you do it. Don't try to grind the ball down the throat of a good defensive front 7. I mean, they have guys up front who are very, very good, especially on the edge. In Cam Jordan, but they have linebackers that are good too. They have our friend from the Jets, whose name I can't think of right now, the linebacker.
For what team?
For the Saints. Used to be from the Jets. Demario Davis. Thank you for nothing, Drew. They have guys who
Take that back.
Who are up there. Thank you for showing up, Drew. They have guys who are able to stop the run. They don't have a lot of guys who are able to stop the pass. Sling the ball. That's it. You've got Russell Wilson. Don't be afraid to sling the ball.
Yeah. B says, Drew, I just want to say Mahomes is going to be the GOAT when it's all said and done. He says, oh my gosh, he's a machine. He hasn't seen a quarterback with this much confidence since Rodgers, and he's going to put that guy in the dust. You're very lucky having him, and he is the Steph Curry of football.
Except a couple inches taller.
Well, I am lucky to have him, but he said no to my marriage proposal, so...
So he's leaving Kansas City when the contract is up, confirmed.
I don't fully have him yet. Still trying to reel him in.
Okay.
I'd make a heck of a housewife. I'm just saying.
And Jeremy, we know the game's on. Let's round it out then, Drew. Let's keep rolling. What's our next game?
Oh, you don't want to comment on that?
I don't. Definitely not. We're gonna leave that where it lies. Our next game, Sunday Night Football. We got to get this in before everybody goes to watch it. Rams at Browns. Who's picking the Browns? Who's picking their Super Bowl pick for the offseason, right? We were talking Browns Super Bowl. Now we're talking about Browns maybe being like a 6-win team because they're not looking good. Baker Mayfield doesn't look good. The offensive line's not protecting him. They haven't had the running game.
They need to win this game.
Beckham's look good.
They're at home. They need to win this game.
Beckham's look good, but the defense has been trash too.
Is this the first game in Cleveland? No, second.
No, they played the Titans in Cleveland.
That's right.
You got dunked on by the Titans in Cleveland. I gotta cling to this stuff, Drew. I gotta cling to it because obviously our season's over. We lost to Jacksonville and Indy. We lost to 2 backup quarterbacks. Our season's done.
Jesus.
I know. But I don't invest myself too much in what the Titans do, by the way. It's tough. It's tough going.
This being said,
it's got to be a bounce back week for the Browns.
It's got to be, right? I don't have them winning. I got the Rams winning. The Rams have to win this game
comfortably.
Going to win this
game. This is
game.
a defense you need to take advantage of. Jared Goff hasn't looked very good yet. The defense isn't there, except for Myles Garrett hitting him late. There's not a whole lot that scares me on this defense. And Myles Garrett will get sacks. He's a good player. But as long as you keep Jared Goff clean and healthy out of this game, Todd Gurley shouldn't have any problem running the ball. Your backup running back shouldn't have any problem running on the ball, whether you want to go with Henderson or Mike Brown. It doesn't matter. And Cleveland's going to struggle to keep up because that's what Cleveland has done so far. I think the Rams win this one comfortably. Even in Cleveland, even on Monday night, I think Cleveland is still too obsessed with what they're doing off the field and talking and wearing watches and being in commercials than they are about playing football. And I think the Rams have been kind of humbled these first couple weeks. They kind of found a little bit of mojo last week. I want to see them continue it.
David said the Lions pulled off a win, and he's also commenting that Tom Brady will always be the GOAT. Bees is saying, way to stay positive, Jake. And Ian says...
Was that about the... I've been pretty negative this show. I'm not going to lie. I've been down on a lot of guys this show. But I was nice to Mason Rudolph. Let me think. Who else? I was nice to the Chiefs. I was nice to the Broncos. You got to take it where you can get it. I was pretty negative, but you got to take the sunshine where you can get it.
Let's talk about the Titans.
No, let's not. I can't. My heart can't take it. They played on Thursday, Drew. We don't talk about them on Sundays.
All right, well, we both had the Rams going, the win. I don't remember what we took during the offseason.
It was Rams.
Okay, so
Three-way
we're
Rams.
Rams across the board here. Let's talk about Monday night real quick, where the Chicago Bears go on the road to the Washington Redskins, my second favorite team in the league. Do my Redskins even have a chance in this game?
Let's see some Yeah. Have you seen Chicago's offense these past couple weeks? I know they pulled out a nail-biter against...
Have you seen Case Keenum?
Well, he looked pretty good against the Eagles, didn't he? I know it's this.
We're
this
questioning
isn't the
the
same
Eagles.
defense here.
We're questioning the Eagles.
But
if they're
we're
a real
questioning
team.
the Eagles because Case Keenum looked that good, and last week it wasn't the worst thing in the world. The Bears need to step up because this isn't about Case Keenum. This is about what is Mitch Trubisky going to do against a defense that's halfway decent, like the Redskins have. Because if the Redskins frustrate this offense again, we're talking about another nail biter. You typically don't get away with a lot of those in the NFL. Eventually, a team is going to be good enough to beat you. This is about Matt Nagy finding out a way to get remember, this is the offensive guy coming in to be head coach.
Right.
This is about the offensive guy finding a way to make the offense work against a decent to good defense.
There's one weakness in this defense that the Redskins have, and it's crazy to say this, but it's their secondary. This secondary is not anywhere what we thought it would be with Josh Dorman and Landon Collins. They're not close to it. They cannot seem to be able to stop people through the air. Chicago's going to need to find a way to throw it, but they're also going to need to have a good mix of run game in there too. Probably won't find a lot of holes, but they got to be able to mix it in there so they can trick this defense to coming up and cheating the offensive line. That's the only way I see the Redskins possibly winning this game is that they can hold the Chicago Bears to completely nothing on offense, which sounds really funny, but because obviously if any team holds a team to offensive being nothing, they can win games. But I think that's the only way of doing it because I don't really see the Washington Redskins doing a whole lot offensively against the Chicago's defense. I had the Bears taking this game, and I think we do across the board.
And yes, we did. We have the Bears taking it, right? That's what we said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 100%. We did in the offseason. We do now. This is going to be a nail-biter, though. I still don't believe in this offense. I think they're still trying to find their ass with both hands, even though Matt Nagy was brought in to be the revolutionary guy. Because they said, we have the defense, right? We're looking good on defense. Figure out a way. Let's be a little more high-flying with the young quarterback and figure everything out. The Bears haven't got there yet. I don't think they get there this week, but I think they have enough defensive talent that Khalil Mack's going to win this game. Or everyone else in the rest of the defense. I don't want to just say Khalil Mack because everyone else here is good too.
Yeah.
This is everybody on Chicago's defense right now. I think the Bears win this game because they're going to frustrate Case Keenum and they're going to frustrate the Redskins who don't have enough weapons to do anything about it. But I think this is going to be 17-14. And I think the Bears are going to struggle in this one, and we're going to be talking about, is Chicago any good next week? Real quick, comment here. B says the NFC North is going to be the best division in football. All four teams have a chance to have 2 wins already. Let me give you a better stat. Nobody has beaten the NFC North outside of division yet.
Yeah.
The only losses have come in division right now. The NFC North, like we said, might be the best division in football this season.
Ian says the Skins by 3 and
Ian loves his underdogs.
You copied him 17-14, but the Skins.
I didn't see it, but I'll give him. I'm gonna flip flop. I'm gonna flip the coin. I'm gonna say the Bears get that last second field goal, and their kicker is the guy who drains the 32-yard field goal with 6 seconds to go.
Last minute comment.
Last chance before we go and watch this game. I want to see the Browns play better. That's it. I want to see the Browns play better. I want to see the Rams play better. They've been disappointing. They're one of those teams where the offense isn't there. I want to see the Browns play better, man. Where has all this hype been? I know I was saying this before the season started. Don't buy into the team with all the hype in the offseason. But come on. Come on.
I'm going to hope the secondary for this Washington Redskins shows up. I hope that somehow we shut out Chicago and they go in with 0 points and somehow our defense can score a defensive touchdown. Not going to happen. I'm still picking the Bears, but that's what I'm hoping. Guys, again, thank you all for your likes, comments, and shares. I know we always push you up against the wall. We appreciate you guys being here when it comes to Sunday Night Football. It means the world for us.
We never get out of here like the plan is.
No, we will next week.
No, we won't.
Yes, we will.
We'll try.
Jake will be sitting here by himself.
I'm just ready to sunshine
I got an important game to watch. But I do want to appreciate all you guys out there commenting and sharing and liking. It means the world to us, and we appreciate it immensely. But Ian, Justin, Nathan, Sharif, Andrew, Frank, Eric, Jeremy, Will, Bees, and David, you guys are all awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
I'm going to give you one final thought, because you gave me one, and normally it's on the other shoe. Any final thoughts for this week, Drew?
Oh, I gave mine. I want the Washington Redskins secondary to show up and shut out the Chicago Bears.
I'm sorry. I was
Don't think it's
lost in the comments.
Don't think it's going to happen, though.
I don't either. I definitely don't think it's going to happen. I think the Bears win this one.
I can hope. I at least
You picked them. You picked
I at
the
least
Bears.
root for my
I was rooting
second
for Tampa
favorite
Bay
team.
today, wasn't I? I was like, come on, make this field goal. And then I was like, they're going to miss it,
You
though.
made me choke a little bit. I
just
have
a realist.
never once hear you say, let's go Tampa Bay Bucks.
Let's go Tampa Bay. I wanted to see you beat the Giants today and prove me right and put me in a 4-game lead against Drew. But you can't even do that right.
All I hear is negativity.
It's because I'm so used to being hurt.
It's true. You got terrible teams.
Anyway, we will see you guys again on Tuesday to talk about these primetime games as well as our variety show. So if you want to talk baseball, because we're getting up into the wire on that. I know a couple teams have clutched their playoff lives here.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit of baseball. We're also going to get to football. You know we're going to be in there. As well as everything going on in sports on Tuesday, 6:45 Central, 7:45 Eastern. We hope to catch you guys then. It's been a fun show. I can't wait to go watch the rest of this game. I want to see what the Browns fail again. Negativity all show long. Here we go. See you guys on Tuesday.